Hello and welcome to The Elder's Insight, an exciting new podcast series presented by Hepworth & Associates, your source for advocacy, advisory, and planning insights for seniors, pre-seniors, and their caring families. So let's get started with the show on location today in Toronto.
Welcome back to another episode of The Elder's Insight, and thank you for joining us once again. My name is Gary Hepworth, and I'm your host for this edition of The Elder's Insight, and we are live today from Toronto, Canada, where the weather is still not being kind to us. Today's episode is entitled Financial Insights, Relevant to Me. We know that when it comes to aging well, a lot of our listeners have a particular focus on their finances, and for good reason. The natural questions are, how much is enough? Do I have enough? What if I don't have enough? How do I sift through all the financial advice that I've been given? And how do I make it all relevant to me? And it's no wonder that Canadians approaching retirement or deep into the thick of planning for retirement are focused on their finances. Current research says that 41% of Canadians aren't sure if and when they'll retire, and 76% started late, so they didn't plan early enough. And for those who are already retired, nearly half of them worry about, will their resources last long enough? So will I outlive my money is something I hear often. All said, there's a lot of anxiety for those pre and post-retirement who are without a plan. And interestingly, because many think it's too late to do anything or too early to start. Some don't want to know what to do and some are embarrassed to ask. But the bottom line is, there are solutions available, which could provide a reality check and some much deserved peace of mind. So we're going to change up our usual format today to look at a typical situation that we hear often from our clients, and then pose it to an expert. That expert will consider the situation and then provide us with the kind of advice that they would give their clients. Now remember, this is only one situation. Yours may be different and likely will be different, but I think the advice and approach that we get from this example might be enough for you to look at your own situation and maybe comfort you or inspire you to explore some options of your own. So the expert we brought with us today is the terrific Ray Choo of HollisWealth in Markham, Ontario. Ray is a senior investment advisor with HollisWealth, a division of Industrial Alliance Securities, Inc., and an insurance advisor for Hollis Insurance. He has been working in the financial services industry since 1994 and has attained his CFP, his FMA, his CIM, and his FCSI designations. Ray graduated from Brock University with a bachelor's degree in computer science. So what I like particularly about Ray's approach is that his understanding that not everyone's financial situation is the same, and that sometimes people find themselves stressed out because of what they don't know and what is possible. But bottom line, Ray is a passionate and respected expert on the needs of older adults, and we are thrilled to have him here today on the Elders Insight.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Gary. Real pleasure to be here on the Elders Insight. This is a great idea to get important and relevant information to the audience, and we're talking about subjects that I'm very passionate about.
Great. I see you have lots of designations, which is cool. Lots of posters, a lot of certificates on your wall, I'm sure.
Thank you.
But I'm going to get started right out of the gate with a scenario we want to test. Okay, so I caution listeners that this is not a one-size-fits-all scenario, but it's a useful discussion to use as you wish. So I will be the suspect for the interview today, Ray. So this is a scenario. I'm 63 years old, and my wife and I are planning to retire in 2 years at 65. We're both in good health, with no family history of diseases or other concerns. The kids moved out a few years ago, so it's just the wife and I. We collectively earn about $110,000 a year. We spend about $5,500 a month on our expenses. We're not envisioning anything major. We're not going to renovate the house, so nothing major expenditure-wise in the near term. We own the house. It's last time I had it appraised was $700,000. It has a mortgage of $150,000. I've got about $10,000 in credit card debt. Unfortunately, I have no company pension plan, and I have an RSP with about $50,000 in it. So how does that sound, Ray?
Well, I do have a number of questions I would certainly like to get some clarification on, Gary, if you don't mind. First and foremost, does your wife have a company pension?
No.
Okay. Does she have a RSP or a tax-free savings account?
She has a TFSA, yes, and she's got $30,000 in that.
Okay. Excellent. The companies that you and your wife work for, do they offer any health and dental benefits during retirement?
I do, yes. So she will get coverage through me.
Okay, excellent. That's wonderful. Now, I know that your kids have moved out. Are any of them still relying on you and your wife for support?
No, but my son tells me that when the grandchildren come along, they might be looking for help from us. So,
So the M&D bank is still partially open.
yes.
Okay. Are both of you saving any money annually? If so, how much?
Well, we're trying to, but it's been a challenge. So we're trying to save, $10,000 to $20,000 a year if we can.
Okay. And how's that going? Have you been able to achieve the 10 or the 20 or somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between, yes. So let's say 15,000 each.
Okay. Okay, that's excellent. Are both of you planning on taking a CPP at OAS at age 65, or are you thinking of delaying it till 71?
Well, we're thinking of 65, but we understand if you delay it, there's a higher benefit. So maybe we need to explore that.
Absolutely. Now, presently, are you thinking of actually staying in your home or downsizing when you retire?
We were thinking of downsizing. The house is bigger than what we need.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we were thinking condo, but who knows? We have no plans to go to retirement home because we're healthy and don't see that anywhere in the future. Well, certainly not for the 20 plus years.
Right, right. Okay. Now, how many vehicles do you own?
2.
Okay. Are they owned or are they leased?
One's leased, one is owned.
Okay. And how long have you had them?
My lease is coming up this year, so 4 years. And my wife's car is 3 years old.
Okay. And when do you anticipate needing to replace the one that you currently own?
Later this summer.
Okay. Were you thinking of getting a new, used, or a lease vehicle?
I was thinking of leasing again.
Okay. All right. So then that means you'll have two vehicles that are at least.
Well, mine won't be leased, and hers, she currently owns it, so she'll probably drive it until it drops. But
Okay. And how old is the car?
her car is 3 years old.
3 years old. So okay. So do you always keep your cars for at least 10 years or so?
I used to. This is the first car I've actually leased, so it's the first time I've done leasing, and I like the idea of it, so I might consider it again.
Okay. And when it comes time to replacing your wife's vehicle, were you looking to actually, do you normally buy it all in cash, or do you finance it?
Normally been cash.
Okay.
Of course, with the interest rates as low, that's always something to look at.
All right. Okay. Now, do you anticipate disposing of one vehicle upon retirement?
No, she likes her car too much, so I would say no.
Certainly gives her the flexibility and the independence.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any plans, and your wife have any plans of working part-time during retirement?
Yes, I expect that.
Excellent. Excellent. So what, 2-3 days a week?
That would probably be realistic, yes. I can't imagine being fully retired. We would
Okay.
need to fill time in our day.
And your wife would do likewise?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. And how many vacations do you take annually?
Well, we normally take 2 weeks a year. So
Okay.
we'd see if we can travel more in retirement, we would do that.
Okay. So essentially that's the plan, to actually travel more when you retire.
Yeah, that would be nice to do, whether we can accomplish that, but
Okay.
we like cruising, that's for sure. We like cruising.
Fabulous. Well, so do I. So your monthly expenses of $5,500. Can I safely assume that it actually includes your mortgage payments?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So now paint me a picture of your ideal retirement, please.
My ideal retirement. Would like to have a good quality of life, which means you're hoping that your health continues to be in good shape. You're hoping that there's no seriously unplanned expenditures. You probably expect you're going to have grandkids at some point. You can probably spoil them. Would like to travel. Probably take on some more hobbies. And as I said, work a couple of days a week. The things we'd like to do. So probably continue to have some source of income coming in.
Okay.
And yeah, housing-wise, we've always lived in the Toronto area, so we probably want to stay in the Toronto area. We're not looking necessarily to moving out of the city.
Right. Okay. All right. Now that gives me a pretty decent idea in regards to your current situation.
So how do I look? How do I look?
How do you look? Well, okay. So first and foremost, let's go with these following assumptions. And I'm saying that your investments will grow at a rate of 5% per year. Inflation would be around 2.5% per year. CPP would go up by 1.5% per year. You will take, because you've worked all your life, so the assumption would be you're eligible for a full CPP payment at age 65. Obviously, your wife has, my assumption again, that she's actually taken, let's call it 10 years to raise your kids. So she will have partial CPP, and that will be approximately 75% of the full amount. So with that, and then you're looking at $5,500 per month for your expenses. That's net after taxes. So taking those assumptions into place, at this point in time, it will be very difficult for both you and your wife to retire at age 65 and maintain that $5,500 a month. Now, granted, there are always solutions. First and foremost would be you need to reduce your spending. That's number one. Number two is consider selling your home, and a combination of selling your home and reducing your spending certainly would help you in regards to meeting your retirement goals. Now, obviously, during the interim, cut down your spending and increase in terms of the amount that you're currently saving, because you're 63, you're looking to retire at age 65. You have a couple more years to actually save towards your retirement. So if you were to say sell your home, you need actually about $670,000 at a rate of say 5% to actually give you give you the income that you're looking for, including your CPP, including your OAS. You may want to consider, if you do qualify, applying for GIS on top of that. If you don't qualify for that, then that's fine. But if you do, perfect, that's extra bonus money that you can get from the government. So I would certainly say take those into consideration, because at this stage, it doesn't look like you'll be able to stay in your house and retire and have the lifestyle that you want. So you should be looking to selling it, renting a place, and then that $500,000 that you're going to receive, or I should say $700,000 minus the mortgage, minus the commissions, minus moving costs and whatnot. I'm using $500,000. Add that up to your savings that you actually have at the moment, including the tax-free savings from your wife, plus you're currently saving a little bit of money per year. Add them all together, you'd be very close in terms of achieving a total of $5,500 per month net.
Okay. So you use statistics because you look at actuarial tables, right? So someone my age, last time I looked, said I'm going to live to maybe 82, 83, a bit longer. So it's another 20 years on this planet. I think you've addressed some of the questions. So the question I had, if I sell the house, you still have to find somewhere else to live, right? Which is still going to have to fund.
Yes.
Are there any other plans I should take a look at for 20 years of retirement?
Well, if you're looking to retire and then I'm working this plan for the next, well, let's say 25, 30 years. So we're looking at age 85 thereabouts to age 90, at $5,500 net per month after selling your home and then investing those proceeds, and then assuming from age 80 onwards you're reducing your $5,500 per month to say $4,500 per month, you should be okay. Well, certainly with the plan itself, there are risks. Because you need to save more, obviously, because the risk that all of us face as we age, or I should say mature gracefully, we can avoid.
Well put.
So having said that, I mean, what are the risks that most Canadians, or I'd say all Canadians, do face when they retire? Essentially, is this: number one is the longevity risk, because of the advancement in terms of science and medical technologies. We're all living longer. So at this stage, we're male, we live to the age of, say, about 83, 84, women to 85, 86. By the time you retire, it could be very well north of 85, could be closer to age 90. So that's one of the risks, because you don't want your money to run out and out of runway. So you want to make sure that's sufficient to last both your lifetimes. Next risk, obviously, is health risk. Now, right now, if you will look around for seniors independent living, you're looking at a half decent home would be around $5,000, give or take a couple $1,000s up and down.
Yeah.
If somebody were to need, if you were to need, or your wife were to need long-term care, those expenses would go up to $8,000 per month. So you would deplete the $500,000 or $670,000 you were saved in no time. Then what's left for your surviving spouse? That's a huge issue. So at this point in time, certainly these two are things that we need to address. Other things that you have to be concerned about is that we're basing the return on your investment solely on a, say, for example, 5.5, 5.8% return. What happens if the market were to take a turn, i.e. something similar to 2008, 2009? So your principal would be dwindled, would have declined. Then you have less to take out from your investments. Then what? So that's also a very huge risk that you will be facing. So these three are sufficient to cause a lot of concerns for most Canadians when they retire, and needs to be addressed prior to retirement. So then that way we can play out the scenarios and determine what solution would be best suitable for you.
Yeah. So really, you got to prepare for the curveballs that could come your way. So I'm sure in your experience, you've run into client situations where there is a significant gap between what people think they need to plan for retirement versus what they've got in their collective wallet, which may be the situation here. Anyway, they may be difficult situations to hear about. So what specifically keeps you awake at night in these type of situations when you interact with your clients?
Well, you know what, absolutely. Time to time, I do run across situations of this nature. And if and when I do, the clients and I will sit down and we will discuss their current situations at length. Now, clients obviously, first and foremost, have to accept their current predicament. Then we can actually move forward. Then the next thing, they must be willing to change or adapt their lifestyle going forward from there. So issues that we discuss, first and foremost, is curtailing their spending. We talk about what needs to be done. Well, we also talk about how to efficiently and effectively pay off any existing debts that they may have. How to increase their current savings if they're not doing any savings whatsoever. Then we'll talk about exploring other financial opportunities. Perhaps that the clients may have to work part-time, during the term of their retirement until physically they can't do that anymore. Next thing, they can entertain. Start a small business on a shoestring. Certainly a lot of seniors do have tons of experience and knowledge, and you can translate that into a business. So we talk about that too. Other opportunities would be improve their job opportunities through taking education. We do see seniors going back to school, getting some education, so then they'd be more employable. A lot of company nowadays, instead of hiring younger people coming in, they will hire an experienced retiree that can come in and work for 2 or 3 days. And so that way they can actually impart and mentor all the younger folks that are in the company. Next thing is that we will talk and we'll crunch the numbers about selling and then renting the current homes, whether it makes any sense. And then last but not least, obviously, is certainly consider what are the possibilities of moving to a smaller town.
Mm-hmm.
Different province, or a different country. Certainly, if you're moving to a different country, then healthcare is one thing. Then what other amenities are there in those countries that you can actually use for when you're retirement? So these are all the different issues that we discuss, and certainly it's an eye-opener for all these retirees.
Good. I guess winning the lottery is always an option too, right? So,
absolutely. Sign me up.
So last question, Ray. If you had a group of us over 50-year-olds, which is the huge boomer population right now in your class, and you were teaching them, what would you teach them? What do you wish they would know?
Well, the first headline, the headline for the workshop would be everything you need to know about retirement. Mm-hmm. So what the topics that we will certainly discuss is, the ins and outs about CPP and OAS and GIS qualifications and when you should take your CPP, when should you take your OAS, should you delay them or should you? Next thing is that how much do you need in retirement? I mean, that's a fallacy out there that you need 70% of your pre-retirement income to make sure that you can sustain your current lifestyle through retirement. My personal belief with all my clients is this: it is your lifestyle that will drive how much you actually do need in retirement. So that's what we work backwards. What kind of lifestyle do you want? A lot of my clients that have accumulated a substantial amount of money do not have an extravagant lifestyle. Now what they're doing is that the biggest problem that they have is that spending the money that they've all saved. And that's every time when I meet with them, okay, how much have you spent? Are you spending? Come on, do something. Because if you don't, CRA will take a good portion of that. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about, can you save now and how much? And we plan for events like what happens if long-term care strikes, how it will decimate your savings, how you can prevent that from happening. Your current spending, how can you trim? How do you pay down debt effectively? The key thing is plan early. So the earlier you can plan to find out where you are now and what needs to be done to improve your situation, that's no different than going for an annual physical checkup, because if there are any health issues, you want to catch it early. And last but not least is estate planning. Key thing is minimize estate taxes. You don't want to appoint CRA as your beneficiary. You need to know how much your estate will be paying upon your passing. And then certainly one of the key things is plan on taking your RIF and your LIF payments early. So that way it minimizes the estate taxes down the road.
Right. So that word planning keeps coming up. I think everybody we've talked to in terms of this series, planning is coming up, so how important it is. So Ray, this has been great. Fascinating chat indeed. So a big thanks to you on behalf of our listeners and yours truly. Our whole objective here on the Elders Insight is to provide peace of mind that comes from trusted information. And it's terrific to get the straight goods from someone like yourself. This has been fabulous.
Well, Gary, it's my pleasure. This has been a great discussion. I certainly enjoyed it. I hope that it's going to be beneficial to your listeners. Love to come back again. I mean, as long as you would invite me, and there's a lot more to talk about, especially when it comes to travel today.
Super. Okay, folks, that's a wrap for today's video cast, and we thank you all for joining us. And a big thanks to our guest, Ray Choo, for taking the time out of his busy schedule to be with us today. If you'd like to reach out to Ray and the fine folks at HollisWealth, just drop us a line and we'll get you connected right away. So your comments have been very encouraging. Thanks for all the comments and the questions you're getting. So again, tell your friends, neighbors, relatives about series, and stay tuned for our next one. See you then. Take care.
Thanks for joining us today on the Elders Insight. We hope you found this podcast helpful, informative, interesting, and most of all, fun. We hope you can join us for our future podcasts as we continue to be your source for advocacy, advisory, and planning insights for seniors, pre-seniors, and their caring families. A big thanks to Hepworth & Associates team, and we look forward to seeing you the very next time here on the Elders Insight.